Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO.
3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the 3DO company, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Thrak. How you doing, Thrak?
Oh, Bill, I'm fitting the bust. How are you?
We're already off to a wonderful start. I'm doing wonderful, Thrak. We have a wonderful guest joining us for this episode. We've got Andre from Fine Time. How you doing, man?
Hello, thank you. Hello, party people. Am I allowed to say that on the 3DO Experience?
Hello, 3DO people.
Hello, 3DO people. Hello, Trip Hawkins people. Welcome to the 3DO Experience. I welcomed everyone. I didn't even introduce myself. I just welcomed everybody in. But yeah, thank you for having me on for the porn.
Thanks for joining us for this adventure. Unfortunately, we were going to have both Andre and Steve, but Steve's internet just didn't want to do the porn today, I guess.
Yeah. He didn't. It wasn't meant to be. God said no about the porn.
We tried. So, Steve, if you're listening, we're really sorry, man.
Yeah,
I was
sorry.
really hoping to have you on, because I remember when I asked Dre to do this, I was like, can you get the other ones? And Dre was like, Kevin won't do it, but Steve will do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what I wanted. So
yeah,
we
we're
couldn't
the
get
two,
you, Steve.
We're the two bachelor perverts. Kevin's a family man. Like he has
a Canadian man.
Canadian family man.
Canadians famously do not participate in pornography. So
no, never has happened.
It's never happened. So yeah, but Steve, we'll get you back. Okay,
yep.
We'll find some bullshit you can chat about on this show.
We'll do something. We'll do something.
Absolutely.
Else.
Oh, so yeah, it's been an endeavor, the preparation for this episode.
It hasn't been that bad.
No, it was more just like I was like, this is it.
Well, we're not gonna get into the news first.
Well, we could do the news.
Yeah, honestly, there isn't really that. Well, it's kind of become a thing because me and Bill just like to ramble about what's going on in gaming. That, like, at the front end, we'll just talk about some news stuff before we get into it, which helps.
That's what we do on Fine Time. So
it helps when the game there isn't much to say, though. That's not the case here. But just taking a quick look at my news source, VGC, there really isn't much. Let's see. Argonaut delayed the Croc remaster. Was anybody? Croc sucks. I fucking hate that game.
Yeah, it's fine. Croc is totally fine. I don't care about Croc.
Well, I tried playing it once on the Saturn, and that game with a D-pad. No, thank you. The problem was the D-pad. Analog stick, maybe, but
it's very tanky regardless. So
yeah, it doesn't matter the input. Yeah.
The only other thing I saw, which actually fits for you, Dre, is that according to industry insider Nate the Hate, there is a 3DS remaster coming to Switch next year for Kirby Planet Robobot.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. One of my favorite games of last decade. My second favorite Kirby game next to Forgotten Land. God, I will buy that again in a split second. There may or may not be music you might hear on Fine Time that is directly inspired by Planet Robobot. Who's to say? Right? You never know what happens out there in this crazy world.
Well, because when I listened to you, Chris, and Aaron talk about it in Superpod, I was like, maybe I should finally buy that game and give it a try. And then I bid on it on eBay and I didn't get it. And then I just kind of forgot about it. But with this remaster supposedly in the works, I mean, Nate's track record, we're not going to get into that, but
it's okay enough to where if he says something where I'm like, I'll pay attention, I won't take it as gospel.
Yeah, he's not like Samus Hunter or some of these other
Right.
have terrible track records. This isn't terrible.
Yeah.
But
I believe, I believe Jeff Grubb, honestly, when it comes to most Nintendo shit, I think he's kind of on lock there. But yeah, I don't know. This guy is okay. I will believe this is a thing because Nintendo has been remaking everything these last 2 years, trying to get to Switch 2. That's kind of what they've been doing, Bill. So it's like it fits. Almost said it fits the bill. Wow, I almost said it fits the bill.
And
Jesus.
with no pun intended, with the Switch 2 being backwards compatible, my guess is this trend will keep going, and we'll probably get Link Between Worlds, Kid Icarus Uprising, Samus Returns, maybe 3D Land, though
Maybe
I probably wouldn't suspect 3D Land.
I think 3D Land is better than 3D World. Straight
up.
I do.
No, you're full of shit. You're full of shit.
Yep. I had more fun with 3D Land.
I like both of them for different reasons. 3D Land, I think, has better style. I think World maybe better. I don't know. I like them both for different reasons.
3D Land, I just think, is very mid and safe and very exemplary of that era of Mario where Nintendo wasn't taking any chances at all.
That is exactly how I feel about 3D World. That is exactly the words I would use to describe that game.
3D World has a little bit more to it, though. Not a lot, but a little bit more. It has more potential for greatness, I think, but it never reaches its full potential either. Weirdly enough, I think Bowser's Fury reaches the 3D World's potential. Weirdly enough,
Bowser's Fury is fine. I'm not sure why people lose their mind about that. It's fine. It's good. It's fun, but I don't know.
It's not better than Odyssey, but
yeah, I prefer Odyssey personally.
Oh yeah, Odyssey is phenomenal.
Taste.
Odyssey is my favorite game of the 2010. So you're preaching to the choir here, but for sure,
but this trend will probably keep going. Like, we need Link Between Worlds, we need Samus Returns, Kid Icarus Uprising. Maybe Fire Emblem Awakening. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah, I'd play it again.
I'd play it for the first time.
I'm amazed they still haven't brought over the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Like,
I figured that'd be a shoe-in. Yeah.
I get the sense they're saving that in their back pocket for when they don't have a Zelda release that year. Just think about it, because last year was Tears of the Kingdom, and they weren't going to do it then. This year was Echoes of Wisdom. So, they've had the originals back to back. So maybe next year they'll be like, we don't have too much one way or the other. So now let's do it. Like, I imagine it's ready to go. I thought
they were going to do it in 2020 at the height of the Rona. I figured they were just going to throw them out there.
See, I thought so too, but they didn't then either, which I thought was interesting. At the very least, one of them. Like, I've been kind of wanting to play Wind Waker again, because it's my favorite Zelda game, the only Zelda game I outwardly like. So I was like wanting to play it again, but I'm just waiting for this whenever it happens.
It's like the only reason my Wii U ever comes out of retirement these days.
Yeah.
Bill, are you a Kirby guy though? Like,
I'm not a Kirby super fan, but I've never played a Kirby game I didn't like.
Okay.
Like, there's never been one where I've been like, haven't enjoyed my time. Like, it's not a series that I get massively hyped for, but that's because I'm not really a Nintendo guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but whenever I play, like, I played Triple Deluxe like that. I loved Roboblast. I still haven't played Forgotten Worlds. I need to get around to it. It's mostly just been a money thing at the moment.
Right.
Yeah. I would say Forgotten Land is my favorite Kirby game.
Yeah, I want to play it. It's literally one of those things where it's always like, when I have money to buy games, I generally tend to buy something else, and usually RPGs, because I'm just like that. But
That's fair. Yeah, I like Kirby overall, but I'm like, I'm not Mo.
Like, I'm curious, what is generally considered to be the worst Kirby game?
Squeak Squad, in my opinion. I don't know what
I was gonna say.
To be the worst,
I was gonna say Squeak Squad, probably because it's like forgettable.
I don't like it at all. I do not like that game.
Oh, there's those like weird fighting games that they did. There's like 2D fighting games that are all Kirby characters. I can't think of their
but I don't really consider those like those are just things that exist on 3DS or Switch or whatever. I don't really consider those.
I don't really.
The only good Kirby spin-off is Dream Course.
Blockball,
baby. You count Air Ride as a spin-off? Because I liked Air Ride.
Yeah. I fucking hate Air Ride.
I think Air Ride's pretty good. I've never heard anyone say they hate Air Ride. Wow,
I do not like Kirby Air Ride. I think that game is very overrated.
Oh, people, it's overrated, but I think it's pretty fun. I think for what it is, it's a fun little weird man, what are they even doing here kind of game. And at first I didn't like it, but then I kind of got into it. As like a straight up racing game, it's not really that good, but as just like all the stuff surrounding it and like the thing, all the adventure stuff you can do in that typical like Sakurai fashion. I don't know if he actually worked on that game, but it sure feels like he did.
I think he did, because the amount of stuff in that game that's in Smash Brothers 4 is like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It's
he was
it's
still at
crazy.
Nintendo at that point, so
Yeah.
or still a HAL at that point. So
Yeah, so he probably did, but like, yeah, man, you could feel his influence even if he didn't directly work on it. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. If you just take it as like a Mario Kart, like it's not really that good.
yeah,
That's how
yeah.
I
The
feel
racing,
about it.
the racing is not fun at all for me. I can't stand it. But yeah, the bits. What I forget what the mode is, where you can kind of like walk around and everything is okay, but it doesn't
Yeah.
hang with me enough.
I like the City Rush mini game or whatever, or City the one that basically became a Smash Brothers mini game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that one's okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
there's some fun stuff to do in it, but yeah, it is overrated. People, I don't know why people think that game is like the shit.
Because
I
they
think-
grew up with it. That's why.
I think GameCube era stuff in general is a little overrated.
Yeah.
Not saying
Absolutely.
it's bad, just like that the GameCube in general kind of gets overrated a bit by a lot
Oh,
of
it is.
people.
Oh, for sure. Because like, I mean, I know Dre was around then. Like I grew up with the GameCube and I know what people were saying about the GameCube back then. And I was the target demographic. I was in elementary school, damn it. So like, and there were people saying shit about it back then that like now when people try to defend it and they're like, oh, I don't know why it was so unpopular and all stuff. It's like, shut the fuck up. You weren't there. Okay?
Yeah,
you weren't
It
there.
was unpopular for a reason.
Because it didn't have GTA. That's literally all I heard as a kid.
It's the PS2. It was the PS2's era, and everyone else was literally eating scraps off the floor. That's how that generation went.
It was Sony's world, and we were living in it.
Mm-hmm. That's all there is to it. It's no real fault of the Cube or even Xbox. It's just it was PS2 time. That was all we had room for, and that's it.
Yeah,
It's
we had to kill Sega for this fucking thing to sell 160 million
which
units.
is a shame because I still think
bullshit.
the Dreamcast was the strongest console. I still think at the time, like just in terms of actually like trying to like be different.
You could argue at that time the big four console makers, there wasn't one like Sega was like the best in making games at that time. You could argue that
That was the strongest era of Sega.
because they were peaking
before
in a way that
before nowadays, like that was probably the strongest.
because their game development at that time, they were peaking in a way I think Sony was not, Microsoft was obviously not, and I think even Nintendo wasn't. Because Nintendo was not. Because N64, like their N64 output was not as good as some people say it was.
But also people like Capcom was peaking, like Namco was peaking, maybe not exactly on Dreamcast. All they have was Soul Calibur.
Konami,
but like there was at least
Konami was at their peak at that point.
There is a lot of so like Capcom is like a huge part of Dreamcast, obviously. So like there was a lot of things that just converged at that moment and made that 2-year system the best to me. So yeah.
It's literally the only failed console that I think everyone legitimately is upset it failed.
It was doomed to fail, though. Nobody was ever going to trust Sega after 32X, after Saturn, after they were fucked, no matter what. Nobody was ever going to buy Dreamcast. They did everything correct with Dreamcast, and it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. People were done with Sega, and unfortunately, and I kind of knew that going in, even at the time. I was thinking like, okay, this thing is probably going to flop like the others, and I'm going full force with it. I'm getting all the games I can for it. I felt like it was going to be a flop, and it was.
Did people at the time think it was the end of Sega?
We didn't necessarily, I at least in my circles, we didn't necessarily think that. We didn't think they were going to go third party in the middle of the Dreamcast era and just be like, okay, what the fuck? That was like one of the biggest announcements basically of my life. Like that was just crazy talk to me. So no, we didn't think that was going to be the end of Sega. We just thought, okay, maybe they'll lay low for a bit and try again in 2004 or whatever. But no, they just went third party. That was a shocker.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the Dreamcast to me is it's the ultimate counter argument to when people say, oh, if you just make good games, you'll do just fine as a console maker. And it's like, it is a load of horseshit. And the prime example is the Dreamcast, because Sega, their first party lineup on the Dreamcast, who else has topped that? Like, I mean, like Super Nintendo era Nintendo, maybe. You know,
I don't even think then, because that's one thing I think is like Bill was saying about the GameCube era. I think there's a lot of like SNES people consider like tip top games that I just don't think are. I think that for me, that's how I feel about the way he feels about Cube, the way I feel about SNES. But SNES is a great system because there's like the vast sea of like incredible games where you could just pick up anything and it's like it's going to be good. Right?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think you can say that about Genesis or especially not NES or Master System or anything. Right? So I feel like you have a decent chance of those games being good, and that's the real strength of the Super Nintendo to me. Not like fucking Donkey Kong Country or something.
Yeah. And crazy enough, I think Dreamcast has that same kind of quality, where like there's a good chance you just pick a random game from the library and it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
There are some stinkers on the Dreamcast, but there's really not that many.
There's not that many. The hit rate is so high on SNES and Dreamcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's actually very interesting. Like I was thinking of like kind of like not Dreamcast, but like when you look at like the PlayStation versus the N64, like Scott the Woz said it best in one of his videos where he was like, most N64 owners, like they'll give you like their favorite games to play. And if you compare that next to like a number of like other N64 owners, you're probably going to get the same list.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go with PlayStation, you'll get like, say, like you'll poll 10 people on their favorite games for the PlayStation. It's very likely all of those lists are going to be vastly different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you'll probably see some crossover with certain games, but not to the same extent as the N64, because the N64 only had like 20 good games. So like you just people just pick the same 20 games.
Yeah,
you know?
because that's what we had. Those were the games, and those were the games people. And even if whether they're good or not, it's just people. Those are the games people bought. There was slim pickings on that system basically the whole time it existed. And so, yeah, and I'm not an N64 complete hater. Obviously, I think especially North Americans in general, just overrated. At the same time, Bill's correct. And that's why, like, when people talk about like PS1 versus N64, it's not even like, I don't even know what we're talking about there. Like,
you were there. Like,
how could it even be a comparison? How could it even be a comparison?
And that's the thing, you were there, and you weren't like a small child who wasn't aware. Like you were
a teenager.
You saw it all happen. So your perspective is, I think, more accurate than a lot of YouTubers probably my age who are just like, oh, this was like the hot shit everywhere. And it's like, not really.
That's what it's the YouTube revisionist history of the N64.
And video game history is very Nintendo centric. It's very Nintendo pilled. Yep. Like people, like going back to Sega, people often downplay how powerful Sega was at the time, and it's completely untrue. Like Sega was,
probably from listening to Fine Time, I'm a Nintendo guy. I fucking love Nintendo. All three of us on Fine Time are Nintendo guys. That's kind of almost like the base of the show, practically. Yeah. But we also tell it like it is. We don't go in there and say, oh yeah, all this was. I don't agree with a lot of Nintendo people that way.
That's fair. Yeah, I grew up with both. I had an NES and a Genesis, so I kind of saw both, and I preferred the Sega because Genesis is better than the NES. I think that's an easy thing to say.
Is it?
I don't know. I like the Genesis.
Never thought about that.
I mean, it's not a fair comparison. It's really not.
No, it's not really. But I've just never put that thought in my brain before. So I'm thinking, like, is it really? Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe. But I like the Genesis more. So I always associated with Sega more, and still to this day, I'm a Sega guy. So it's just
Sega is
it's in my blood. Maybe that's why I like Xbox so much.
Maybe. Like, I mean, I'm a PlayStation kid from beginning to pretty much now. I'm not a Sony fanboy by any means. I just like the PlayStation controller, and that's kind of why I've stuck with them so much.
That's fair.
The way I've always looked at it, though, is like the reason why I'm into retro gaming is because I fell in love with the Dreamcast and like the history of the Dreamcast and just going back in time. And then I discovered the 3DO, and now I'm obsessed with this wonderful
what a system.
Piece of junk.
What a system.
So maybe before we get into the topic for today, Dre, do you have before this podcast, did you have any history with the 3DO, any knowledge of it? I mean, you were around when this system was new.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you old, I swear.
Well, I'm gonna date myself right now. My dad played in a local band. We grew up in San Diego. He played in a local band, and one of his bandmates I went over his house one time. I don't know if they're doing band practice or whatever, but they had two sons roughly around my age, and they had a 3DO. It was the only place I ever saw one or played one. And they had I'm trying to, this is 1994. So I don't even know if Gex was out. Was it? Was that 95? I don't remember.
Was 95.
Yeah. See, I can't, that's the thing. I cannot remember what I played. I don't think we played Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That must have also been 95, I think. See, that's the thing. I cannot remember what we played on that thing.
Street Fighter 2 was 94. It just kind of it kind of came out, and then it was just kind of, the thing is, a lot of people didn't realize it was the greatest port of the game at the time, because a lot of people were just kind of oh, it's another Street Fighter port, whatever.
Oh yeah, no, it's a baller port. The music, oh my god. Oh my god, it's
literally
incredible.
The only thing about that game that sucks is the controller. And
where Capcom had to make a special controller just for it to play on the 3DO, which, to be fair, there is a variant of the Capcom Fight Pad for the Genesis as well, because the Genesis had a 3-button controller at the time when the Champion Edition first came out. And I do have the Capcom Fighting Pad. I don't think I have it readily available, but I do have one. And I showed it. In fact, if you go to our Street Fighter episode and go to the video, I show you all the thing, and it's a weird monstrosity of a controller.
Yeah, I've seen it. It is weird. No, but yeah, that's the only time I ever played a 3DO. That's the only household I've ever been to that had a 3DO. So it's very, very limited experience here. And again, I can't even remember what we played. So that I must have, I don't know, just have thought it was okay. Excuse me, I'm speaking right now. Okay, about the 3DO. Shut up. Okay, this is my show now.
It has Capcom laser etched into it, man.
That thing is, I don't know. It looks cancerous. It looks very bizarre. I'm very concerned for its health.
It's more comfortable than you'd think.
The way I always looked at it is, it looks like an arcade cabinet. They put the actual the buttons kind of off to the side like a cabinet, and then the D-pad's supposed to be where the joystick would be.
That's how it feels too.
I'm trying to imagine it in my hands. Someone want to 3D print me up one real quick so I can. Well,
Dre,
just feel that bad boy.
Just fly over to Ohio and I'll let you hold it.
Ohio, yeah, but yeah, that's the end. That's the end and beginning of my 3DO experience. At one house, I played for an afternoon or so, and that's it. And again, I don't remember what I played, so whatever. But yeah, until then, this is so I played more porn on 3DO than I have anything else.
Just out of curiosity, do you remember which version it was, the 3DO?
I want to say Panasonic. I feel like it was Panasonic.
Did this tray come out?
Yes.
Okay, so it was probably an FC1.
Okay. Was that Panasonic? Or I don't know.
Yeah. That was the original model.
Okay.
The FC1 is the one that's in the image I have for the logo for the show. It's the one that basically when you look up 3DO, it's the one that pops up.
Yeah, I have the FC10, which is the top loading model. So it's the best working of the bunch.
Yeah, they generally are the best ones to get nowadays. Because there's a ton of Japanese ones, and this thing isn't region locked. So
okay.
It's just
I'm just thinking, since they had it so relatively early, they probably actually paid $700 for that bad boy. They probably did, which is just. Look, no shade, but that house wasn't looking good enough to be spending $700 on a console. I'm just saying, right? We couldn't afford that shit either. I'm just, but let's be real.
But Time Magazine said it was the greatest thing ever. That's surely it.
Oh, okay, sure. Certainly, they went right out to Sears and then bought that bad boy. That's the thing. I never really saw it because, they actually live fairly close to the Toys R Us I went to growing up. That's why I remember that house. But at that Toys R Us, and Toys R Us had everything. They had TurboGrafx. They had 32X. They had everything. I never remember seeing a 3DO there. So yeah, I don't know.
There was only one, and they bought it.
Right?
I swear with 3DO, the whole reason why they're so weirdly obscure is because a lot of people I don't even think thought they were game consoles, because the FC1 doesn't look like a game console very much.
Mm-hmm. No.
The only one it does is
it looked kind of laser disky if you didn't know any better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Dre isn't the only person I've ever heard that when they were around and the 3DO was a thing that they say, I just never saw one. Like maybe they just didn't ship that many consoles in general because of like the production and like the weird how the pricing worked and everything. Maybe they just didn't make that many because Panasonic really wasn't making that much money off of them in general.
Probably, but also like I'm just trying to think like if I ever saw one at Target, if I ever saw one, like I'm not sure that I did, like they just weren't that visible. That I think that was really well, not just besides a library and just the capabilities of the machine to begin with, but just like it just wasn't very visible on top of it.
Yeah, it's really a weird, like looking back at it, the whole idea was fascinating. It was never going to work because video game technology you can't make a standard for because it's always evolving and it's just never gonna it's just not something that would ever work in practice. I guess tying into the games we're covering though, like the biggest thing on 3DO that made it kind of significant was the fact that its licensing fees were pretty much nothing. And if you wanted to make a game for 3DO, basically you just had to pay a small fee, and Trip Hawkins was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care.
And then
it's like putting your game on like Steam these days, probably.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, because it was literally like that was one of the reasons why a lot of developers found the 3DO to be kind of attractive at the time. Was it just had such a low licensing fee, and like literally there was like no restrictions because it didn't even use the ESRB initially. It used 3DO's own janky.
I don't think the ESRB was around yet.
It wasn't out. Yeah, the ESRB came around in like late '94.
Yeah, because some later 3DO games, like Gex, I know in particular, does have an ESRB rating on it. But a lot of them use the weird 3DO rating system, which is like Sega had their own rating system, which was basically just the ESRB, but I think it actually made more sense than the ESRB to a degree.
Like, I think they put it in, or at least like it was argued when the whole like Night Trap thing was happening, that Sega instilled the rating system as a way to try to avoid any like government censorship when it came to Night Trap. But I think it was around like before that, but Night Trap famously didn't have a rating on it at all.
No, they didn't. The Sega ratings came about because of it.
Yeah,
that's why.
But also
and
Night
then
Trap
the
wasn't that
ESRB
bad.
happened. So
yeah, and like Night Trap wasn't even worth worrying about either.
Well, at the time, I mean,
There's
timing
nothing there.
No, it's not. It's a bunch of guys in rubber suits waddling around, and
because they also had Mortal Kombat, which at the time,
Mortal Kombat was probably the bigger.
And then a little bit later you had Doom, and then Doom. It's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, at least for its time.
Yeah,
but,
those were the catalysts for sure.
Exactly.
I also remember some weird controversy reading about some mom bought Primal Rage for her kid, and like it was like, I don't know, the monkey farts. Oh no, this game is terrible. But by that time, they bought the Genesis version. By that time, Sega had the ratings. It was rated MA13. So everyone was like, bitch. Read the box, right? So at that point you can't say anything.
It's like, say, like nowadays when people try to argue about like, oh, the violence that exists in video games now, and it's like the ESRB exists, like it's not your fault. Like if you don't read the M on your copy of Box Office Bust, then like what are you doing?
That's our thing.
And no one will know. No one will know why I have a copy of it right next to my desk, but here we are.
I think I have a copy of where do I have it? It's right here.
Oh, but something weird.
No, it's not weird at all. It's No More Heroes 3. That's right.
Nice.
Here. We got a big old M right here.
Did you play it yet?
No. See, it's still shrink wrapped. I haven't played it yet.
The only game I have.
I was
my fake copy.
I love that. But yes, Dre, I was disappointed with No More Heroes 3, so I'll be curious to your opinions.
Okay, we'll see when I get there.
Alrighty.
But
all right. So let's rip this fucking Band-Aid off. We're talking about pornography here, and like not plumbers don't wear ties. Like
that's not porn.
That's not porn.
No, people always throw it in that caveat.
I always tell people, I'm like, the only porn in that game is you see like a minute of side boob and a lot of John's ass. That's
it.
Plumbers don't wear ties is like the sitcom hijinks version of pornography. like oh, we have to like make this adult film, and then sitcom shenanigans happen, and you get plumbers don't wear ties.
Like,
You know what I mean?
Graphic thing in that game is the scene of Jen riding around on like Crusher in like the bondage gear.
Or when she like ties him up in his office and rides him like a horse.
Yeah, as James Rolfe said, damn.
I don't know why that reminded me of that music video where Little Kim is riding the giant rooster, like she's riding a big cock, ha ha ha, right? Like, but it's like this big, it's like a horsey ride at the mall. You know what I mean? You put a quarter in, but it's a giant rooster, and it's like, okay, I get it.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
I was like 17, 18. I don't never forget that video as long as I live. Anyway, but yeah, I've always heard that about plumbers don't wear ties, but I gotta be real. Until Thrak, you approached me for this, I did not know 3DO had porn. I had no clue this existed. And you guys we were just talking about Night Trap and whatever. This seems like the kind of fodder that would be on the nightly news. Oh, this new upstart console has porn. Now, granted, 3DO wasn't popular, okay, but still, they would find anything. Night Trap wasn't popular either. It's not like everyone out there had a Sega CD. Right. But obviously Sega, you know, like I get it, like it's more notable. And but I'm surprised nobody, like I had never heard of these porn games and it never became like a controversy.
Well, and you could argue the controversy around Night Trap is what made it popular in the first place.
Yeah, because no one gave a fuck before that.
It got Streisand affected because otherwise it would have been just like fodder for fucking podcasts like this. Like that's all it would have been.
Yep. I have a bit of a theory. So what we're talking about is the video games developed by Vivid Interactive, which is a company.
Video games. I'm using air quotes.
One of them's kind of a game. We'll get to that.
One of them is. One of them.
Yeah. Oh god.
So Vivid. The way I thought of this episode is this is by far the 3DO's strangest rabbit hole, because I was trying to do research to find more info, and there is not a lot. Like facts are scarce. Like the company Vivid Interactive doesn't technically exist, but its parent company does, because it was a spinoff of the company Vivid Entertainment, which is a massive pornography company that's been around for a while. Mm-hmm. Like if you go on their Wikipedia page, like you can't even find any references to Vivid Interactive. It is just like it's something that I guess they've scrubbed from their like history because it's hard to find.
Well, none of us emailed them and said, "Hey, what can you tell us about your video game division from the 90s?"
There's some guy there who worked on these who are just like, wow, I've been waiting for this my whole life. He's like 65 now.
I could probably genuinely send them an email being like, this sounds really weird, but hear me out. And then they see it and they're like, does anybody know about like, did we make video games in the 90s? And yeah, Dre, some random dude's like, yes, we did. Holy shit. And he just comes running like Charlie when he got the golden ticket. He's like, finally. And then just gives me a whole thing.
Like been waiting for this.
The only way I could find out that the two companies were part of like the same corporation was like on the Wikipedia page they had a list of their models, and I was like, oh, some of these models were in the 3DO game, so I'm like, okay, there it is.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna
work, Bill. I'm gonna out myself as a complete pervert now, but like back in the day, I came of age in the 90s. I'll just say that, right? And back then, Vivid was like half the videos I saw. If we were to just like sneak some video, I heard so and so's uncle has a porn video. Let's go in his bedroom and check it out, right? When he's not home, Vivid was like a big deal company. So when I saw these games, like when I loaded up and I forget which one I played first. Love Bites or some shit. And I saw like Vivid Interactive. I was like, oh, this might be some legit porn. This isn't like some bullshit company. I know what Vivid is, right? And then it was bullshit. But
like my theory on why this didn't make such a big stink is this is just kind of me doing some amateur sleuthing and like just kind of like putting pieces together, but I don't think these games were easily available. I think you had to go directly through Vivid to get them because I tried to. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to find a couple of these for this episode just to have on hand. they're not easy to find. There's not a lot of them out there. Like even like just loose discs. I looked at the price. I'm like, I'm not paying for that.
Well, you have to remember, like when the ESRB was established, a big thing was the adults only rating, and how I think still to this day, like all the major retail outlets, I think even like the digital ones like Amazon, they will not stock AO games.
Sony,
Microsoft,
it's trash that that's the case.
Yeah, like even Sony and Microsoft won't sell them on their stores. They're like, if it's AO, no.
Actually, it's even deeper than that. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all have an agreement. They will never put one of those games on their system. Like it's just a thing that they've
because it's obvious what an AO game is. Like
it's unsellable.
Like is that 9 times out of 10 an AO game is just straight porn. There are a few that are like crazy ultra violent, because I think on Wikipedia there's like a list of the AO games that were released.
Manhunt 2 and stuff like that.
Well, there was like San Andreas, but not even that. Like
that's because of a stupid dummied out thing that wasn't even supposed to be in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, it's all like just random like PC stuff.
Well, the original story with like AO was like Thrill Kill, which was like the game that they went out of their way to make it AO, which is hilarious in hindsight because that game's not even close to AO. But,
and then it got canceled anyway, so it was like, okay.
Yeah. Like the most recent AO rating game ever released is like a game called Hatred, which is just
that fucking thing. I remember that.
Yeah, something about that game, it just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, no thanks. But yeah, I think obviously, I mean, not to get into a whole ratings discussion, but I think it's just so fucking silly that we do that. And especially in America, where the only things we'll consider adult only is porn. That's literally it. Sex is the only thing you're not allowed to see. Just fucking dumb. You know, because like every other country uses this stuff appropriately. Like Australia has I think it's called R18, where like the Grand Theft Autos and like the other stuff goes. Japan has the Sero system. Sero Z is literally like you can't put it on the shelf. You have to sell it like behind the counter or whatever. So even like Capcom with like Resident Evil, so release like a Sero D, which is like 17 plus, and you put it on the shelf, and then a Sero Z version, which is the one we get like in North America and stuff because it's like too strong for their ratings board. So so other countries do use it. We just don't because America, but you know that's a whole other thing.
Yeah,
I also feel like
and also M has gotten pretty lax over the years.
I just don't think the ESRB is a great rating system anymore. Like it's very outdated and it kind of needs to be restructured a little bit.
I completely agree, but nobody cares enough to bother.
Yeah. I mean, well, also back in my day when they introduced it, you did not. I could go. My little fucking 15-year-old ass could go to Toys R Us and buy whatever game M off the shelf. Now you get carded and shit. Now they like actually pay attention to like, are you 17 or not? Like when you buy a rated R movie or something like that at the store. Who does that anymore? But you know, whatever. But back then I could go buy Mortal Kombat 3 on PlayStation 1 and nobody would say anything, right? So
and it's
like
absolutely
I was just going to say, like in the 360 days, when I was like, my parents would like buy me like Call of Duty or something, which was rated M, you know, and the clerk would say like, you know, oh, is this okay to buy or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
they would just do that with me, and my parents were like, yeah, we don't care. At that point, I was like 15, so they're like, who gives a shit?
I know it's a GameStop thing because GameStop's kind of bullshit like that sometimes, but I always like roll my eyes when you see like them card like an 80-year-old dude. And it's like, really? Like, really?
I've yet to be carded for buying. Like the other day, like I bought LA Noire at a GameStop and they didn't card me. So
I've never been carded for a game for like other goods and services that you have to be 18 or 21 for. Yes, because Nevada's gotten like super strict about it. But like for a video game, no, I've never, ever been carded.
Back in my retail job, they would like, if ever I had to work the register, you know, they would try to be like, you know, make sure you card people if they buy like cigs or booze or whatever. I never did because let's be honest, because nobody looked suspicious. Everybody was like, yeah, like dude, you have like a wheelchair and you're gray, like you're fine.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I work at a casino, so obviously everyone has to be 21. But like, I never get almost never do I get anyone where it's like, are you really, like, you'd have to look so young, you know, like it just don't. Come on, who's really gonna come into a casino and be like? Because if a kid really wants to sneak some gambling, they're gonna go play a machine in the corner where no one's looking at them or something like that. Like, oh,
I mean, hell, you can probably just gamble on your phone.
Yeah, or something like that, right? So like they're not gonna come to me for that. Anyway, yeah, I do think it is interesting how this never caused a controversy at like not even a small one at all. Oh god, this thing has porn. So maybe you did have to like mail order it. Maybe you did have to like in the back of your latest vivid porn video, you had to be like, hey, send away for this 3DO shit, you pervert, and then like send a money order or whatever.
Yeah, or it could have been like, say, at the various like adult shops, like your Lions Dens or whatever. You could probably order them from them, and then they would get them for you, or something like that. It's
Right.
probably just like how you got any pornography pre-internet, was like you had to do all this weird back alley under the table kind of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, the Zero Z games in Japan, you can't have them on the shelf. So, like, if you want like Grand Theft Auto 5 in Japan, you have to like literally ask for it. And it's like behind a little case, and you have to ask for it or whatever, and probably show an ID or whatever. And that's that limits sales. So
I think a similar situation actually happened with the Atari porn games, like we were mentioning off camera. They were kind of behind the shelf, and you had to ask for them.
Yeah, some of them came in like leather bound like pouches. So like so that like
1982.
Yeah, basically. So you couldn't be ashamed that somebody had a game called Lick 'em.
Beat 'em and eat 'em.
Philly Flasher.
Philly Flasher. Is that the Kaboom knockoff?
No, that's the one that's the opposite of Beat 'em and Eat 'em, but it's like the weird witch up there.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
I love Beat 'em and Eat 'em because they like lick their lips after they like catch it. so stupid.
Like seriously, we could do a whole episode on the Atari porn games because they have, despite not being as like advanced technology as like the 3DO ones, they are so much more interesting to talk about.
They're really funny. Yeah, see, that's phenomenal. The thing. That's kind of the problem with these 3DO games. There's some stuff to talk about here, but it's like there's not a whole lot. I mean, I can I just steer the conversation here?
Yes.
Who is this for? Basically is what I'm asking. Because look,
perverts.
If you're a 3DO, no, here's the thing. If you have a 3DO and you're a pervert, you have the money to get like laser disc porn and like some real pervert shit, right? You're not going to be getting it on your 3DO. Also, I think we have to, this is the elephant in the room for me. These are clearly full scale vivid porn videos edited down to softcore.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Like they have the production, like they have like editing and music and sets, and they do all of this other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if these were like meant to be just like straight up like softcore, because these are softcore, like down to the wire, right? And I get the sense they were maybe filmed to just be straight up like softcore videos, but then they probably like watched them back and just went, this isn't really working. And then they're like, oh, well, there's like this like 3DO like FMV thing, So they use these to be like, we don't want to waste all the work we did. So let's maybe turn them into like a novelty for like this console, and maybe we'll get like some sales off of it, because none of these work as porn by themselves. Like none of them at all. Like softcore, like, I don't we're not prudes here, right? But I probably a lot of people our age struggle. Like softcore doesn't really do anything for me. But that's the internet's fault.
Well, no. So here's the thing. I'm old. Okay, I'll tell you.
You're the old boy.
On Saturday night or whatever, when like Skinamax and like would show softcore videos, I was like, I don't want to watch this. I would like and this is before you could find that stuff on the internet. It's before I even had the internet, right? So even back then, I felt that way. Right, it's like, no, I want to see some real shit, right?
Like softcore, I think can work, but when you do it, it's like, oh, it needs to be like more artistic, or you're trying to go for something a little different, right? But I don't think it works.
But here's the thing. I don't think these were shot as softcore. I think these are shot as hardcore videos edited down to softcore, because none of the events, like if you just watch it as a movie, nothing makes any sense. None of this makes sense.
The storylines, the ones that have storylines, are completely jumbled and confusing. So that's possible, because some of them have more like explicit stuff than others.
Yes.
So I could see that, because there are moments where it's like, oh, they might like actually go a little bit over but they don't. Like, I don't think like the most we see is boobs. Like
Well,
that's
it.
it. We don't see.
And
most
Yeah,
yeah, that's about all you see.
there-
You
there's
see
there's no genitals.
genitalia
There's
at
no
all.
holes. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
No
at all.
definitely no penetration. No, you know, it's funny when
There's
you
some
first approach me
implied.
about this.
There's some implied penetration.
There's well,
which is
yeah,
what
it's implied, but
softcore
you're
does.
just not going to see it.
Exactly.
When you first brought this to me, and I brought it up to the guys, like, "Hey, do you actually want to do this?" And Steve agreed. I was like pontificating, like, okay, is it just going to be some boring like vanilla sex? Are they going to get wild? Are we going to see some like piss? Are we going to see like some like crazy like fisting? Are we going to like? Are we going to like crazy shit? Like, yeah. I was like, how wild are we going to get? None of these were wild. None of them showed anything. It was pretty tame. So
like what I was hoping was it was going to have like that cheesy porn acting that we're
yeah, and even
all
it doesn't have
familiar
that
with.
either.
Yeah,
I know. I was
just
just hoping for like the 90s FMV cheese. Like that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
So that
You
it would
kinda
at least
get it
like
sometimes,
that at
kinda.
the very least they would be kind of entertaining, even if in like say a bad way. But like none of these are really entertaining at all. Like they're all maybe 20 minutes a piece. Like that's all the video you really get. And yeah, it just equates to some implied light sex here and there, and then coupled with like this weird like video toaster style editing and like
that was
weird,
the 90s though, man.
and
That
weird,
was just...
like weird angles and like as Rich Evans says, commercial surrealism. Like there's quite a bit of it here where it's like they're trying to be weird, but there's nothing to be weird about.
But that's why I think these were definitely edited down to soft core from hardcore, because they're doing like these weird cut-ins where it's clear they don't want you to see her of Virginia right there, right? So they're doing this weird cut-in where it's like, oh, we're gonna do the stylized like angled 90s thing, so you can't quite see that, but you can still see her tits. But then it's like, yeah, so they're like creatively editing. It's almost like weird porn softcore music videos, right? Because they have like the music.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then it's just like all these weird scenes. What was that one about the witches? The Coven? That was the weirdest one because they're showing all those scenes outside. They're like bonfires and shit, Bill, right? But then it's like
Coven
tits.
Yeah, Coven absolutely was like they had filmed the whole production.
That's the most infamous one out of all of these.
Oh, is it? Okay. I did not know that these had levels of like fame in fame.
That's the one that most people know. Like, because a lot of these most people don't know. That's kind of like the one it's like that one and like Blonde Justice are like the two that most people remember.
I love that because Coven 1000% is like a full scale production that they did. That they obviously like they trimmed it down so much. And again, it could have been because they saw the final product and were like, this isn't going to work. Yeah, like quality control. Or
can I do my impression of the opening of Blonde Justice and the Coven?
Here we go. Absolutely.
Okay. Vivid interactive for CD, interactive CD-ROM, and 3DO. There. What do you think? Is that good?
I have like a half Nick Chubb right now. This is great.
Oh damn! See, I did it. God!
The best part of that whole intro is like the lady who has like the CDs taped to her eyes and her boobs
and her tits. Yeah, it was crazy.
When I saw that, I'm like, oh, we're in for some good shit. And then,
I know we'll probably, I don't know, Blue Sky will let you should use that as a promo image, Bill. The CDs on her tits and her.
I think we can get away with that. That's not.
I think it's okay. You can do it on Blue Sky.
It's in like 240p, so you can't really see anything.
You can't really see nothing. Oh God! But what was that thing? I think it was the beginning of the Coven, right? Where she's like naked and she's writing the giant CD over like the green screen landscape.
That one was awesome.
That was so fucking cool. It's like some blaring, still stale 80s rock, even though it's the 90s music. And then it's like, oh man, they're just like they're having a great time out there. It is incredible. I think if anyone should take anything away from this and seek anything out, you should seek out that shit's legit funny.
It's funny because I didn't want to be like such a degenerate that I was actually going to like go through like try and find like maybe the source for these like in like Vivid's actual catalog, because I'm convinced these are I'm on Dre's side. Like I'm convinced these are just cut down from like actual videos.
Yeah, I mean, if you were able to find the models and like could see their work, it's like, oh, they're not like softcore models,
No,
I'm sure there are
Vivid's catalog. essentially.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, these are just fucking weird, man. And it's like it's a shame they don't either like go just super far or just like, play into like the stories that they've obviously made for even like Blonde Justice. Blonde Justice was one of the most confusing plots I've ever seen.
I think it's because the way they cut them, they just don't make sense.
Yeah, and
they
the
don't
thing
make
is,
sense at all.
and like we haven't talked about the gameplay because there fucking isn't any gameplay. like it gives you a DVD style menu or like pre DVD style menu, like a video CD, and it gives you like 4 or 5 different like little like clips, and then you just pick it, and then it goes for like wait for probably like 5-7 minutes, but it feels like an eternity, and then it just stops, and that's like you can go to the next one, and then that's it.
I did like the menus though, that it was some weird like pre-DVD still Laserdisc kind of like weird like, okay, choose this thing from the menu, right? Like it's that was kind of interesting. Okay, I don't mind saying this as a cishet man. I'm just going to say it. I'm comfortable with myself. Okay, listen. You can't have 2 different vampire movies. Okay? There's Love Bites and there's Immortal Desire. Okay, They're both about vampires. You cannot have those movies without showing Dracula's dick. I'm sorry, you got to see some Dracula dick. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Everyone knows I'm right. You got to see it.
Well, what does it look like?
We don't know, and they never showed us. I don't know. I would love to know. I want to see that Dracula dick. I'm sorry.
My mom listens to this show. I hope she backed out when she saw what the title was.
Yeah, I think she's out of this one, or you're gonna get a text.
Look, I'm just being real right now. You can't have Dracula without the dick. Sorry,
I always knew Thrak was a degenerate.
I want to know what Dracula's packing. Just the truth right now. But yeah, I remember bringing that up to Steve when you sent me the things. I was looking at the list and I was like, okay, at least Love Bites or Immortal Desire has to be about vampires, right? They're both about vampires. Yeah. So 2 for 2 there.
It's actually kind of funny if
pre-Twilight vampire fetish crap. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think they both have like Nosferatu clips in them because Nosferatu is a public domain movie.
Yeah.
That was the best part, was seeing like fucking Nosferatu. I'm like, oh shit, a good movie.
It's actually kind of funny looking at the covers. Love Bites is like the only one that I can honestly see someone accidentally thinking is an actual game.
That looks like a goth rock album cover.
Yeah, it does.
Like 1988,
Yeah, it's weird how like even though it was the 90s, porn was so stuck in the 80s. Like it was weird. It was like, but that's the thing. And this might be a weird direction to take it, but I don't care. I've been weird enough on here. I legit love that, or rather, I forgot because I'm from this era and I haven't seen porn from this era for a long time until now. God damn, we used to put some budget into this stuff, right? Some real muscle. Like whoever was making these fashioned these as just actual real deal movies, only they just happen to have a lot of sex. Like, I forget that's how we used to like posit porn videos. And now it's just like whatever. And I'm not saying we need to go back, we need to return right to this era. It's just very, very interesting to see this. Like, and if you're a younger person, old enough to watch porn, mind you, but if you're a younger person and don't know what I'm talking about, it might actually be worth looking at this stuff, because I legit, like, on a like cinematography, like real like filmmaking level, I know that's weird to say about porn, I actually think it's interesting to look back on.
Yeah, because
isn't it like a thing that like a lot of directors back in the day got their start doing porn and then they eventually made it into actual films? Or
yeah. I feel like that's happened a couple times, or they did it just for a quick buck or two in between projects, or like it wasn't very uncommon back then to film some porn in between like real, quote unquote, real movies. Yeah.
And it was like, like a different time where like you knew that like, oh, we're going to have to like sell this VHS for like however much. Mm-hmm. So it's like, let's make it, like we have to have a budget to kind of make this whole thing work, Yeah, as Dre said, it's a lot different to now, where people who make stuff online are like, it's all like completely no budget stuff for the most part.
Yeah,
but it gets to the content quicker. Though I've seen some newer stuff that does have some, you can tell it has some budget behind it,
Mhm.
so there is
Okay.
still that, but
So it's not complete. It's not a completely lost art then.
no, and there's like what was it, a Pirates movie from the 2000s or whatever.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, see, that was a thing actually. Every
was a
once
thing.
in a while, back in the 90s and 2000s, you hear about the one big budget porn movie of the year. You'd hear about it. It would be like actual, like, I don't want to say news, but like, it would get word would get around. Oh, because I know what you're talking about with the Pirates one. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
Were they
but,
trying to
like,
be Pirates of the Caribbean, or were they trying to be like?
I think it was Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah.
Okay,
But nowadays it's like filmmaking, like no budget filmmaking has gotten so much cheaper, and it's so much easier to get like a nice quality, like, video with like decent editing and all that for not a lot of money. So it's like, why bother putting in all the bells and whistles when you don't really have to? You just have to have a nice camera and maybe somebody who like is decent at cinematography, which there still is some like half decent cinematography out there.
The last time I remember hearing about a big budget porn movie was the Overwatch one. Was it Oversnatch or like whatever? What is it called? I don't remember. I think it was. I don't think I'm making that up. I feel like that's what it was called. But like, yeah,
That's amazing.
Blizzard, is that the one that Blizzard like sued them for or something?
Yeah,
or?
they did. They got sued. I don't know how successful it
they?
was, but yeah, they did sue. Yeah,
I
it was
don't remember that
very
one.
all the costumes, like diva and whatever. I'm not going to go into it, man. But they did a good job. They did the research. What's funny is that came out like 6 months after the game. I feel like they played the game like right when it came out. It's like, oh shit, I know exactly what to do now.
Yeah,
like
basically,
it was fast.
Well, I always think the funniest one is like the Super Mario one, like the Super Hornio Brothers, where like Nintendo owns the publishing rights to those just to keep it off the market.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a Nintendo move, though. That is
The reason why
1000%
those
move.
films are impossible to find is because Nintendo bought the publishing rights just to take them off the market.
So if I were to try to upload some VHS quote unquote scan of that, Nintendo could actually copyright claim me. Nintendo themselves.
I believe
That's
they
crazy.
could.
That
Justin Wang did a whole video explaining the whole Super Hornio Brothers thing, and it's like, wow, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah,
when did that come out? Do you remember Super Hornio? I don't remember. I don't know how old that is. It's like from the 90s or
it was in the 90s. I think it was around the same time as the original Mario Brothers movie because I think they were they took inspiration from that.
Okay.
They watched the movie, they didn't play the game.
All I know is Ron Jeremy was Mario. Like,
oh, of course. I mean, please, yeah. That's the there's no point in even doing it if he's not Mario. Of course he is.
I mean, now he'd be Wario.
Well, you can. I mean, unfortunately, it's the stuff that, ironically, the least interesting part of those movies is the set. You can find the sex scenes online because those are available. You just can't find the actual Mario stuff.
The actual stuff. Okay.
Wouldn't that be amazing if you went to the hub and tried to find it and it says, "Oh, due to a copyright claim by Nintendo of America, this video has been removed."
I like that you call it the hub.
I
mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, of course. I'm just saying. I just never used that nomenclature. Okay, I can't stand anymore. Can we please talk about Mind Teaser? Mind Teaser.
Oh yeah, the only game, quote unquote, here.
Yeah, I feel like that's the
quote
only
unquote
game.
Yeah. What do you have to say about it?
I wasn't expecting a game at this point. I don't remember how many of these I looked at before I got to Mind Teaser, but I was just like, okay. And then it's just like the most bare bones, like CDI ass. Like, I love the guy saying like, good, or try again. Try again. It was such a weird voice clip. And then with the music over it, it's just like, oh man. So you're putting together this crappy little jigsaw puzzle. And I remember the first one, I forget which image I picked, but I remember the first one it was almost complete. It was actually a fairly explicit picture. It was like just laying down on the bed, and his head is like right in there, diving right in. So I was like, oh, okay, we might actually be seeing some stuff. And then, of course, when you complete the jigsaw puzzle, you get to see the porn clip, and it was actually like, okay, it's still softcore, right? But that was like actually the most explicit game was Mind Teaser, I think.
Yeah, ironically, the one named Teaser has
the
most, yeah, like explicit stuff. Because I remember doing that. I was just like, yeah, let me just do it or whatever. And yeah, it's gonna be a weird ass comparison, but the puzzle that does that stuff, it reminds me of like those fucking like CDI Bible games where you do like the connect the dots, and it would just be like yippee,
Yippee!
whoops.
made by the same company.
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
The power of the 3DO compels you. Yeah, but then like you'd finish the jigsaw puzzle and it just went right into it. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're just here
I
now.
was not prepared. I didn't even zip my pants yet. Hold on, wait.
There are so many people at this hotel pool. What's going on?
Can you guys imagine that on like an old school like kiosk back in the day, like a 3DO porn game on like a fucking like Target, like, oh, what the hell is this? Like, hey, here's how to sell the system no one's buying.
Here's the Horde, here's Incredible Machine, here's Icebreaker, and here's Mind Teaser.
Yeah,
That's the thing with the name of it. If you roped it in with just random like 3DO games, you probably wouldn't think it was bad. It doesn't sound bad.
Another shitty puzzle game like Zoot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aside from the cover, which is a bunch of girls in, like pretty scantily, I think there's actually some pity on the cover. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. I was just going mainly off the name.
Yeah,
but,
But okay, something else about Mind Teaser though. Something else I noticed because I'm a pervert. There was a clip. Okay, there was a clip I saw. She's like doing her doggy style or whatever. That was a clip, and then it was just like, but the audio was very chopped up. It wasn't the audio from the actual movie. It was like moans and stuff pasted over like the scene that's like in slow motion. Clearly, you'd be hearing audio. Oh yeah, fuck me harder. Yeah, come on my tits, whatever. You don't hear any of that. You don't hear any of that. So like, are they afraid of like cussing in a 3DO softcore porn game or something? Like, why was the audio so chopped up? You were having a porn game. Are you worried about language now? Was that the reason? I don't understand what happened.
It's a weird choice. This game really I found really amusing because like after going through this was the one I played last because I knew it was the one that was probably going to be a game just by the
okay.
Save the best for last. Huh?
Well, when I was grabbing like the shots and stuff, this one I saw the actual gameplay photos. I'm like, oh, this one's a game. I'll save that for last. I just had this weird thought of like, imagine being like the guy who's like back then who's like extremely like desperate for anything, and he like gets this one and he starts playing. He's like, I gotta work for it. Like fuck. And he's like,
yeah,
but then like you have like the slider puzzles that surprisingly took me longer than I thought they would. I thought I would finish them in like a minute. It took me like 2 minutes. Like this is bullshit.
I would have loved if they did it like the like in Twisted with the slider puzzles where it's constantly it's animating, so you're just seeing like these chopped up pieces moving around as you're
that would be now I'm just imagining like the porn version of Twisted, and that would be amazing. Oh my
God. When I was playing Mind Teaser the whole time, I'm like, this is the weirdest Twisted minigame yet.
It weirdly would fit in actually.
I take that over the goddamn grocery store one.
Yeah, seriously.
I think it's funny that you could kind of like pause most of these videos and just hit it on one of those grainy stills of like something, and it's like, do people just like, oh yeah, this is my favorite part? Let me.
This is my
pants now. I don't know. Like, what do you? It's weird that you can. I guess why not, right? I guess get up and get a drink or more lube.
Oh yeah, the 3DO's controller, the pause features and like video features on it actually makes sense now.
But could you fast forward and rewind?
You can. Yeah.
Okay. I never tried because I just wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
Then I'm surprised you didn't fast forward.
See, I should have done that. That would have helped.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it's just weird that you can pause the action. It's like, oh yeah, let me spank it to this pixelated still via the power of my Panasonic 3DO from the 3DO company. That is exactly what I paid $700 for. Go buy a fucking Hustler, man. That is a lot less than $700.
Meanwhile,
and there's a lot more stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
As it's paused, the 3DO's like reader is like screaming, like, please press play. I can't do this forever.
Please put in crash and burn. I'll do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about like we didn't get to see any freaky shit in these things. They were pretty vanilla. Yeah, go buy a Hustler. You'll get some shit, right? Like for a lot less.
Penthouse.
So
you'll get some stuff. Hustler was the filthy one though. Hustler always had like the weirdest, like, okay, we're gonna, I'm not even gonna describe it. But yeah,
I had a friend whose like dad had like a stack of them from like the 2000s or whatever, and wow,
Yeah,
that's all,
they
that's
they
all
did
I'm
the-
gonna say.
They
Wow.
did stuff. Well, I mean, maybe that's how I turned out the way I did the first time I ever found, because again, I'm old. Back in my day, you couldn't just go on the internet and look at porn. You had to literally find a magazine. Like I said, I heard so and so's friend's uncle has these magazines, or
But
you just find it by the dumpster because someone's throwing them out, which is how I found a couple. And the first one I saw was a Hustler, and I learned that day. I tell you what, I was looking at this, I was like, oh. I didn't know we were out here doing this. I didn't know this was
that
part
can
of the
go
deal.
in there. What?
Yeah, I didn't know.
but like Dre, you never did like the film reel thing where you found like a fucking film reel and threw it on a projector.
Oh no! That's like way before. I've known.
Okay, that's before
my
your
friend's
time.
dad had a couple, but we didn't know how to like use a projector, so we didn't. Yeah,
See, that's like
Yeah.
different from like our era where like I remember like for me it was like I was on one of those like sketchy anime sites where you to watch like anime like illegally and they would have hentai slipped in and I wouldn't know, so I click on one, I'd be like, oh, this is not what I was expecting in this latest.
Wordsworth, get out of here.
you're like, what, cartoons do this? Like what?
Yeah,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
We have cartoons because like I bought anime starting in like 93, 94, and of course I bought all the fun titty stuff like New Cutie Honey or Burn Up or like basically all the hot girl cop shows or fighting crime, right? That was always where they were guaranteed to take a shower afterwards because I was 12 and that's what I wanted to see. Well, what am I saying? I'm 42 and that's still what I want to see. Regardless,
That's why he has the fine time shower.
That's why it's a fine time.
A hentai girl in there.
Yep, that's what I convinced Kevin to do every break. But yeah, point is, like, I never accidentally bought like hentai because, like, back then you had to order from, remember, ADV Films, right? They sent you the catalog and you sent away the money order for the movies you wanted, but they also had a hentai section where it's like very explicitly saying, "Hey, this is porn. This is 18 plus. This isn't your typical, like, this isn't Dirty Pair or something like that, like your typical anime from back then. This is actual real deal shit."
Right.
Yeah, they were a Dirty Pair. I love Dirty Pair. Oh my god. Anyway, but yeah, they that was like very explicit, so you couldn't just stumble upon it like poor Bill did here. You had to like actually go seeking it out. But
Yeah.
I don't know what scarred me more, that or accidentally watching Akira at like 12.
oh god, that'll fuck you up
for sure. Yeah.
That'll
kids
fuck
have,
you up.
Yeah, kids have it so easy these days when it comes to the pornography.
Oh my god,
I was thinking about,
which is kind of its own issue in a weird
Yeah.
way. Like
Mhm.
again, we're not prudes here, but I think like the amount of access that kids have and the amount of exposure they can get to it very young,
well, like
it definitely fucks with you up here.
Yeah.
It does.
we had mentioned it earlier, like who was this really targeted towards? Like to me, like obviously it was targeted towards adults, but like the people that this would have appealed to me would be like back then, like the younger kids who were just first discovering this kind of media.
Oh yeah. Because like here's the thing: if I had saw this when I was like 12, 13, I would have thought this was like the hottest fucking thing I'd ever seen. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, of course. Like back then, because I didn't have any frame of reference. I'm like, oh my god, like I'd be wearing out that pause button on that 3DO. I tell you
It's
what.
like
it has the vibe of like say like in like a movie or something where it's like, oh, like the 13-year-old like discovers pornography.
Oh yeah,
and then,
like the
and if they ever show it on the TV, it's just like some like softcore thing, but they're always just like staring at it like eyes wide and all that stuff. Like this feels like the source material for like something else to be like, oh, I discovered like my dad's porn shelf or whatever.
It's
I
like
went
the
out,
kids
or I
who,
went out to the woods and I found like the porn mag in the woods.
It's like the kids who watched Titanic for the first time and their favorite scene is the painting scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically.
Where she
god.
slaps the glass.
Well, they didn't back in my day. They did, like I said, they did not card for M-rated games, but they were California was certainly very strict about R-rated movies. So you had to have an adult take you in, or at least buy your tickets. They didn't have to go in with you, but you had to they had to buy your tickets. I remember my friend's dad took me and 3 of our friends, so it was 4 of us boys. We're all like 15 to see Starship Troopers.
Yep, that was the one I was going to bring up as well.
Oh baby, I tell you what,
That was everyone's first pair of titties.
Well, it wasn't my first. I'll tell because it was a different Paul Verhoeven movie. It was the three-titted lady in Total Recall.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
literally the first tits I had ever seen, and that's why I'm so fucked up. The first time I ever saw tits was there's 3 of them. It's not supposed to happen. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, I obviously knew that, but it was like, okay, I guess she has 3. I didn't know it was fake. I just thought maybe some ladies had 3.
Well, it's like when
what are you feeding that thing?
well, it's like when my mom will find this out now if she's still here. When my dad would watch Starship Troopers, and he'd always tell me to get out of the room during the scene with Diz. And of course, as a child, like you're gonna be like, well, now I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, when I had a chance, I swiped the VHS and watched it on my own TV. And I was
of course,
oh.
Yeah. Oh, I remember one time
for a split second, Bill. I thought you were about to say when your dad used to watch porn.
When my my parents, I can't remember if it was at my mom's house or my dad's house, whatever. But whatever. I was at someone's house for that week or weekend, and they rented. You guys know the Bruce Willis movie Color of Night? There was like an NC-17 version.
Yes.
So there's like a rated R version. They rented the NC-17 version. And after they were done watching, of course, I wasn't, no, you go play in a room or something. You can't watch this movie. Okay, fine. 2 a.m, though. I was like, okay, I'm going to see what's in this movie. Guys, I was not prepared to see Bruce Willis's dick. I really wasn't.
I don't think anyone's ever prepared for that.
I mean, look, the rest of the movie, yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is some real shit. But I wasn't prepared for that part. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. It's like seeing one of your parents naked accidentally or walking in on something. It's like, oh, I didn't really want to see that. But okay, yeah, the rest of it, sure.
It's that image where, like, no matter, like, you close your eyes and you're like, it's still there. I can. Bill, you're absolutely correct. I know this is a joke, but it's correct. I can literally see it right now. I can still see Bruce Willis's peenie. Still see it.
Well, there's a movie that let me see if I get it right. It's it's World's Greatest Dad. It's a Robin Williams film where his son dies from autoerotic asphyxiation. Mm-hmm. And basically Robin frames the whole thing to where his like son committed suicide or whatever, and it's like a whole thing. But at the very end, Robin Williams gets naked and jumps in a pool, and when he goes into the pool, you see his dick and balls, and I'm like, and that's where it's like, I have seen Robin Williams junk.
Yeah. See, that's yours. Okay, now Bill. Okay, mine is Bruce Willis. Here's Robin Williams. Bill, who is yours? What male celebrity were you not prepared to see some penis?
Yeah, I was not prepared to see his Mrs. Doubtfire.
He's thinking.
Honestly,
I love he turned into into the thinker.
I hate to say it, but it was probably Jackass 1. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay. No, that counts.
Yeah, that
counts.
It was either Jackass 1 or 2. The scene I vividly remember is the scene where fucking Wee Man just walks through the room on the table naked and just walks out. It's like, what the hell scene in that movie?
Because Jackass 1 had the it was when Chris Pontius, like, his like dick was like in the little costume, right?
No, that was
or was that Jackass 2?
1 was kind of tame.
Okay, because 2, I remember, like, Chris Pontius, like, his dick had the little costume, and then then it was like a mouse bit it or some shit.
A snake bit it because it was a mouse.
That's right. Yes, it was a mouse costume. It was a mouse costume, and it was like in like a little play, and then they threw like a snake, and the snake just bit his dick.
Well, I mean, the snake.
Those movies are insane.
I can't. I hate Jackass, but that's kind of funny.
You know, that's fair. I respected that.
I mean, the opening to 4 is literally he's under a table and it's a Godzilla monster that's literally his dick and balls.
Yes. That was the recent one. Yeah, I saw that in theaters.
You can buy stress balls of that.
That movie did crazy well. That movie made a lot of money. That Jackass Forever, I think. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. People have a lot of fondness for Jackass because it's watching a bunch of guys like just do dumb shit. And it's funny, and they're having a fun time making it. You know,
I understand the appeal. That is 100% not for me.
And that's fine.
That shit funny.
You know what?
But I get why Jackass was a thing. Especially on MTV, it was like, I just don't. I'm sorry, like, this is just not. It's not doing it for me. But yeah,
it turned me on. It turned me on to Minutemen. So that's all that matters.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I have shit. Am I out of? I'm looking through my porn notes. I don't even know if I have anymore. I got to Dracula's dick that we didn't see. I talked about Mind Teaser. I talked about the Coven. Yeah, the production value. We don't make movies like that anymore.
I'd love to play that video game in Blonde Justice.
Oh yeah,
One that looks like Pole Position. I'm like, I want to play that.
Yeah,
lady, get your ass out of here. I'm trying to play Pole Position.
That has legit been one of my things. Like, if I were to ever like do like a YouTube series, I would want to evaluate video games in movies and TV and stuff. Like, if not real ones, but like fake ones that they made.
Yeah,
You know, like that would be, I think that would be interesting to see how they like either faked it or someone just programmed a thing real quick of like half a level to play on the TV or like whatever. Because I whenever a movie had or a TV show had stuff, I was like, wait a second, what is that? What is that real?
like
You
what
know?
was the
So,
game?
like,
Like
yeah.
what was the game Bart Simpson was trying to get?
Larry, no, Bone Storm. Bone Storm.
Bone Storm. I play Bone Storm.
I for a second I thought Larry the Looter.
That just sounds like a character in The Simpsons.
Yeah, it just, I guess, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's like I said at the top. If you had a 3DO, if you could afford that, you probably had a laser disc and you had like real deal laser disc porn, man. That was some real pervert shit. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If I were of age at that time and I had the discretionary income, I tell you what, man, I'd be watching anime and porn on that laser disc.
A friend of mine
Yeah.
had a Laserdisc player for a while, and I was surprised at like the quality that Laserdisc is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
I'm surprised. Like, it's not bad.
it's not as good as a DVD, obviously not as good as a
No.
Blu-ray, but it's fuzzier than that. But like, yeah, it's actually a decent enough quality for what it is. Like, I remember I did much like 3DO. I went to one house that did have a laser disc and we watched something on there, and it was something animated, like Secret of Nim, or like, you know, one of those like 80s animated movies, Cauldron of, what was that Disney one?
Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron, maybe it was that. But yeah, it was like a decent quality. So I'm like, okay, I could see some porn on here. But yeah, it was never meant to be.
Yeah, it was like when you try to find like movie rips on YouTube, and if it said like the Laserdisc cut, then you're like, oh, this is gonna be like the good quality stuff.
Well, isn't the Laserdisc cut the version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit where you can see Jessica Rabbit's tits or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
It's the scene where they crash the car, and for a few frames, you can
Yeah, you can see her Virginia. For
you can
sure.
see her West Virginia.
They
Mountain Mama.
they showed that on the news. I only know about that because they showed it on the fucking nightly news at the time. They actually slowed it down and showed the frames. They didn't blur it out or anything. And I was like, again, I'm like, when did that movie? I was like, I don't know, 10 or something. But they showed this in the early 90s when they discovered that was the case, because it wasn't right away when they discovered that you could
Because
see
it's
that. It
not
was, like,
in the
later
theatrical
on.
cut.
Yeah, it was like later on where you could see it. Maybe it was on some sort of VHS cut, or like you said, Laserdisc.
Well, I
But,
think it
like,
was.
yeah.
I think it was Laserdisc, and it was a big deal because a lot of Laserdiscs had like a frame by frame mode,
Mm-hmm.
where like you could just chunk through the frames.
Because
and
you could
Frame Roger Rabbit had that, so you could go frame
Yeah.
by frame and see those frames.
You could do it on VHS, but it was like terrible. You couldn't really see it very well.
And
You know, like
Laserdisc, you can
Laserdisc
see
was
it.
like way better. Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Oh, we also had the Little Mermaid box with the penis. Yeah, we have that too. Yeah.
Like,
We
I
have
like
that.
how that's an issue, but then when I tell people, oh, the priest who's marrying them just straight up has a boner.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that when I was a kid. I was like, what? I was like, am I crazy? Am I the only one who's seeing this? Yeah, I completely noticed that.
We're just all a bunch of pervs. That's all.
Yeah, I
Oh,
hella
we
noticed
are.
that. I never said anything because I was like, okay, I don't want to, like, you know, hey, does that guy have a, you know, boner? But, you know, it's like, yeah, I was like, okay, I guess he's a little excited about it. But yeah,
He really likes doing weddings.
You got to do what you love. You got to do what turns you on, right? So,
he was just really nervous to do his like music number.
Man.
oh man,
Talk about.
I'm sorry. I ran out of porn material so fast.
Normally we all run out a little too fast.
Yeah, eventually. Hey, once you're done, right? You don't want to.
I'm gonna take a nap.
I still think these titles are amazing though. Like
Oh yeah, read them off. Read them off for the people.
So
Please.
the games we covered for this were Immortal Desire, The Coven, Supermodels.
Coven. Yeah, Coven.
Yeah,
Because Coven sounds like oven, man.
Yeah, The Coven. Supermodels Go Wild. That one was the one that I was just like.
That one was awful because they were
was
just
the
like
lamest
climbing
one.
a cliff. That's all
That
they
was the
fucking
lamest
do.
one. That's
Yeah.
The whole time I was like playing that. I was playing. That. I was like,
you were playing something, Bill.
that was my moment as I went through these where I was like, what am I doing right now?
What is my life? Really, what is my life?
I thought that the entire time I was watching these. I'm like, I can't believe I'm fucking doing this shit.
There was Endlessly, which literally just looks like some like singer from like the 80s, like her album cover. Like
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Some Paula Abdul knockoff.
Yeah. The funniest one, which is just sex. Like that's it. And it's so tiny on the cover. Like it's literally like there's more boob on the cover than the actual.
And that one didn't really have a plot. At least I don't remember a plot.
That Sex and Supermodels Go Wild were like the worst ones. Those were bad.
Because most of it is just like lesbian shit, which is I guess is just like easier to get away with. But like
but even then you don't see any real Virginia or nothing.
Then there was
I don't know why I chose Virginia.
Which one is it? I think it's Coven. Like they actually scissor at one point. I'm like,
yeah.
There we
go. It's like a little bit.
I'm pretty sure
Scissor me
why,
timbers.
I'm pretty sure that's why the Coven is the one that's the most well known.
Yeah, because it goes further than some of the others. But no,
Mind Teaser is the most explicit, though. Like I said, I feel like that you get the most like actual like I almost said bang for your buck. Wow!
No.
Oh my god! Wow!
And then of course we had Blonde Justice and Love Bites. Love Bites is definitely the least assuming the cover out of all of them.
Yeah, like crazy enough. Like if I had to see like the film version, like the real version of one of these, it would be Blonde Justice. Because I just want to see. Because from what we see, I'm like the plot. I'm like this has to be fucking batshit in like context, and it's just like I just want to see it from start to finish, legit. Just
I would watch the Coven.
Coven, yeah.
Because it has the most production
out,
value.
And it starts out with like the lady just being like, "Oh, you need a roommate." And she's like, "I like just posted that." She's like, "Oh, I'm moving in." Like, and it's like, what the fuck? And then it like devolves. Yeah, like
very fast.
Like those two, I would just like to see just for like their plot, just to see where they fucking go. You know?
I will watch the Coven, and then someone else can just watch Immortal Desire and show me that Dracula dick. I just want to see it, and then that's it. Yeah.
So
I'll send you a 144p screenshot.
I'm really curious right now. What does the Coven go for on eBay right now?
Oh,
too much money.
Probably a lot.
I mean, you might get the Mark Workshop.
If I can
Coven.
even find a copy.
Let's find it. Yeah, I'm very.
Oh damn! Oh yeah, there's a ton of them.
Hell yeah!
And they're all $100 plus.
I figured that's what I said. I was gonna say $100. Yeah.
Hey, let me check. Let me.
You can get the rare with the outer sleeve from France for $315.
With the outer sleeve.
Oh my god! From France? What were they doing watching our porn? Don't they? I mean, surely.
So yeah, like the most expensive one on price trading is Endlessly, and then it goes Mind Teaser, Love Bites, Coven. Blonde Justice. There's the Virtual Vivid Sampler, which has just like little bits of all the movies, so it makes even less sense.
Yeah.
I think Immortal Desire is the cheapest one. Or no, Supermodels Go Wild is, and it's like you can get it for like $60 maybe.
Not worth it.
No,
so
no, not even remotely.
I don't know why when I typed in Blonde Justice, the first thing that pops up is a Superman figure.
Hey, you know,
it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a shitty game.
It's a shitty, game, quote unquote game.
Yeah. Good luck finding any of those for cheap. Mm-hmm. Like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, I was willing to spend like $200 on. Not any of those.
No,
yeah, these are not worth spending money on at all.
Because Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is able to like make up for its like lack of adult content, because it does kind of advertise itself as having that, but it makes up for it by being one of the most insane fucking trips I've ever had playing a video game.
The backstory behind it is more interesting than the game itself.
Kind of, yeah. But these do not do any of that when it comes to like it's trying to be more like it's more titillating for sure, you know. Like yeah, like if you like seeing like 90s like bisexual tits, then this is your thing, man. You are living. You're living good.
Oh my god! If this were Fine Time, this episode would be called Bisexual Tits. No doubt, no doubt. Because I always name for listeners, hey, I do a show called Fine Time. I'm not sure if I ever mentioned that yet, but every couple of weeks when we do what we call our big deal show, we name the episode after something we said in the episode. That would definitely be it. Bisexual Tits. If they would let me get away with it, I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I assume I don't know. I'm sure Apple doesn't care.
Let's call one of our BioShock episodes bisexual tits for no reason.
Where they're already called the Big Daddies subtitled. So I mean,
yeah, fair enough.
I feel like,
fair
you
enough.
know, people are getting there.
Yeah, but but this just doesn't do like they don't work as porn. They don't work as video games. They fail on all fronts.
I do think they're interesting, like I said, as literally like movies, because that's how we fashioned like porn movies back then as like real movies. However, I would just suggest you go on the hub, as Thrak calls it, and find an actual 90s porn movie, like full video to watch. Like, I think you'll just get your job. You don't need to play this. Just watch an actual one.
Honestly, yeah. Like just go to the hub, type in softcore. There you go. If you like softcore, I'm not judging. It's all good, you know.
Hey,
you don't know. You want a little window dressing? That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't know the audience for softcore porn. I never have, and I never. I do.
I would assume it's like women.
Yeah, see, that's
my assumption. But I don't want to like stereotype. So
right. But like I've never understood. And I'll put it this way: it's certainly not the audience who's spending $700 for a 3D. Okay, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you that much. Okay,
yeah, it's not weirdos in San Diego.
Yeah, well, see, I didn't dig through a shelf. He could have had some of those. I don't know. But I definitely didn't see them. God, I wish what was that racing game you said? Crash and Burn? Maybe we played Crash and Burn. Maybe we played Need for Speed.
Well, because when the 3DO came out, Crash and Burn was its only game for like 3 or 4 months.
Oh my God, I forgot how.
So there's a high chance they had Crash and Burn.
Okay, maybe it
might have had a Road Rash as well. Road
Rash probably was one.
Yeah. Need for Speed out then? I don't know.
Pretty early.
Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. Like I said, it wasn't Gex, as it didn't exist yet. It wasn't.
Yeah. But we're not talking about good games, okay? We're talking about this.
We're not even really talking about games.
Not even good games. These aren't even games. I guess Mind Teaser is a game, but your mind is not going to be teased by these puzzles. It's not like the pervert games on Steam nowadays, like Honey Pop or like whatever, where they really make you work for that match 3 shit to see the porn. No, these games want you to succeed. They want you to see the porn.
You have to earn the bad butthole placement in those games. Okay.
What's the horrendous like game on Steam that like you turn safe search off? It's the one that Sex with Hitler. That's the one.
Yeah. It got a sequel, I think.
There's like 4. I think
there's Sex with Hitler 2.
Yeah.
Sex with Hitler again.
Yeah. Like or the infamous Flash games, the Meet and Fuck series. Which
I don't know what those are. I don't know what those are.
You could probably still play them. They are they're a trip, man.
There was a guy on Newgrounds back in the day who was like making this like Princess Peach like porn game that went on for like decades. Like it was a side scroller.
Decades.
Oh yeah, it was another Justin Wang video, but I guess it went unnoticed for like years, and then Nintendo finally noticed it and striped it down. And the creator is so butthurt because he spent his life making it.
Bro,
why did it take him his life to make smut?
Why did it take him his life to make smut? Also, you know how Nintendo is. You can't be. You're gonna get that shit shut down. Come on.
It's just crazy how people still do that shit and know that like Nintendo's gonna get after them, but they're like, I don't care. It's like, bro, they're gonna get you.
Yeah, you can't be upset about it afterwards. It's like, do you remember? I don't know if you guys
the real porn is when Nintendo fucks you.
That is
lawyers.
The Nintendo ninjas. Remember Square shut down that? You guys remember someone was making like a 3D Chrono Trigger thing? Like this is like I want to say mid to late 2000s. someone was doing this, and Square shut it down, and everyone got so mad, and it happens every time. And it's like, guys, these companies will not let you do this. You cannot put that kind of resources into stuff like this. They will get you every time.
Oh yeah,
you can't.
See, when you mentioned Square with what we've been talking about,
yeah, I thought we were going to talk about Tifa in Italy.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it was at the Italian like Congress or whatever.
Okay.
Like for some reason one of the guys, like I think it was like his computer or whatever, had like fucking like Tifa like fucking porn on it, and it showed on the screen for like
I thought it was somebody got hacked or something. Or was it
No, the dude had it on his computer, but
yeah,
it's like, why would you have that up when you're fucking there?
It's literally just an image.
It was during COVID.
It's
I think it was during COVID.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing.
yeah,
It's like a CGI.
I'll send you a link, Dre.
Tifa getting railed. And my favorite part about it is like there's one of like the ladies in the background. She's like watching. She's all like she's like into it, and I'm just like, okay.
I thought you guys remember last year, early in Street Fighter 6's life, there was an online tournament, and someone had a Chun-Li nude mod on.
Yeah,
accidentally, and it was on like an official. It was on like an official thing because it was like an online tournament. So someone's PC mod, and look, it was a really good mod. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but wow, when that showed up, the announcers didn't know what to say. Nobody knew what to say. Everyone was just like, whoa. And then Capcom, I think that's legit why Capcom cracked down on a bunch of like mods recently because of that, because they don't want to be. I feel like there's companies like that, right? Just don't embarrass us. Don't make Cammy naked or something like that. Otherwise, like, do whatever you want, right? But these guys get out here with the we're gonna make Metroid 6 or something like that, and it's like, guys, don't waste your time, please. But whatever, people do what they do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are all must plays, right?
Yeah, all of them must plays.
I was gonna just like for OK Must Play Stay Away, I just grouped them all.
Wait, there are
together.
no critical reviews for these?
I can't even find info on this company. Like
there's no way.
Like there's like literally nothing. Like it is a weird rabbit hole that I'm like trying to find. I like went on a day long like deep dive just trying to find something.
Did Moby Games have anything?
Moby Games has entries for 2 games. It's Mind Teaser and Blonde Justice. Like, but there's
not
really
even the Coven.
Yeah, I know. It's like there's like not that much to like even to. Well, let me bring it up again. Moby Games. Yeah, they have. What? No, it's Mind Teaser and Man Parts. What the fuck is that?
Man Parts.
What?
Did we miss one? God,
so there's like so it was like a gay version we have to play now. Like,
we have to do a part 2. God,
yeah, it wasn't released on 3DO. It was a Windows thing.
Oh damn.
It was planned for the 3DO, but got canceled.
This description is great. This description is amazing. Man Parts is an adult-themed jigsaw puzzle game containing 36 handsome pictures of men to ogle over. Game difficulty can be adjusted, and after each puzzle, your personal male dancer will dance just for you.
So they're definitely not showing any dick, right? There's just no way.
That's like California Big Hunks.
They're gonna show. Would they show some ass?
It'd probably be like a Chippendales thing.
Yeah, like a thong or something like that.
Yeah, and that's it.
My guess here is that this is the male version of Mind Teaser.
Right. So I was wondering how explicit they get, because they showed some, that was the most explicit game that we played. So I was like, okay, they show a little happy trail or something, maybe, or something. I don't know. I wonder how far they go.
Well, that one was on PC, so maybe it was actually more than
Oh, so they're not bound to PC. It's fucking lawless. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
We were just talking about Steam, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this company's weird. Like there's a lot here.
It's very vivid.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out these are like ghost developed by Konami or something like that.
Who developed these? The current Jack Ryan or whatever, Jim Ryan. Like
Trip Hopkins has like copies of these, stashed somewhere.
Oh yeah, he has them. Glass case.
Oh man. So you must play OK Stay Away. Like I was just gonna put the shrug emoji for this one.
Mind Teaser is the only game here, and it's not a game, and you don't really get anything too exciting. It is the most explicit one, but so I honestly, if you're gonna be, like I said, if you're curious about any of these, just do the play Mind Teaser. The Coven, you should actually find the real video somewhere. Mind Teaser, I guess, and then even then, you got to be a real curious pervert. That's about all I can say.
Yeah. Really, they're all like stayaways. Like, if you want to watch some like weird 90s pornography, like there's a lot more out there. A recommendation I have is this amazing video called How to Have Cyber Sex on the Internet. So go hunt that down and go watch that, because that is a fucking trip, man.
Okay.
Go watch that instead of playing this bullshit. So there you go.
As opposed to like having cyber sex in real life. Of course you have cyber sex on the internet.
But imagine it's like 1996 and they're like trying to teach you how to have cyber sex in a chat room.
You're like
in a chat room.
This is like the 90s and like dial up internet. Imagine you're in the middle of it and your mom picks up the phone next door. It's like, well, there you go. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm done now.
That last time I checked, the rip for that is on the Internet Archive.
Okay. I'm very curious to do this for research purposes, of course.
It's kind of amazing.
I will have to peruse.
Yeah. So guys got anything else we want to go, or do we here?
Like they say in the business, I'm spent.
I'm drained.
This was a box office bust, all right.
We're out of here.
But yeah. Once again, before I do my ending spiel, Dre, thanks for joining us for this. This was honestly a really entertaining time.
Thank you for having me for this. Sorry, Steve's internet didn't work out, but I was pervert enough for the both of us. I hope.
We couldn't have done this without you, Dre. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun. Maybe we can talk about a real video game sometime too.
Yes, this is the best threesome we've ever had. Sorry, I had to throw that one in. Well, as we said, there is another adult game that we didn't cover, but I think it's actually a game.
Oh.
It's called Nero Dancer: Journey into the Nero Net.
I wasn't prepared for that.
So yeah, or yeah, we can get you on for something fucking real. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to play a real video game. Now that I have all the 3DO emulation set up, I'm ready to play a real video game now.
Sounds good. I'll send you the list.
Okay,
so you can look at it.
We have an open door policy with this show, so anytime, like, just send us a game that you're interested in, and yeah, we'll set it up.
That's what I did to Flashback 64. I said, I'm coming on your I'm inviting myself on your show to talk Body Harvest. Whenever you get there, I'm talking Body Harvest. Okay. So
I mean, that's how I am with some others. Like I think I told Bar Silence, like, whenever you do the Sonic episode, I'm there.
Yeah,
you have to have me. It's just, it is what it is.
I think the funniest one is like when I got invited onto Fun and Games. Like, I wasn't even the one that asked. Like I think it was Matt. He was asking about does anyone know anyone who's good with Game Gear? And like 3 people were like, get Bill. And I'm like sitting there going like,
yeah, I remember that actually.
And I was sitting here thinking like, I'm not even that big of a Game Gear guy, but sure, I guess.
Yeah, your name came up for some reason. Yeah, I said that to Dave Jackson also. I was like, if you're gonna talk UFO 50 and you don't have me on, I'm going to be deeply upset. I'm just telling you right now. You can upset me, it's your show, but I'm just telling you how I'm going to feel ahead of time.
Well, if Dave Jackson ever plays a Sonic game for Backlog, I will be the defender.
He's playing Sonic Adventure right now and is having a bad time.
But he's not playing it for the show, because otherwise I'd be like, I need to be the defense counsel here.
You know I love that game. You know I love Sonic Adventure. So
I like Sonic Adventure.
I love it too.
I mean, I did say to him, Adventure 2 is the better of the two. It really is.
I don't know. I like one more.
They're very different. They're very different.
For Dave, I think he would enjoy Adventure 2 more.
Well, of course, yeah.
2 is held together better. I love 1, but 1 is kind of like falling apart at the seams.
One's a little too archaic. It's a little too archaic.
One is an insane video game for a lot of reasons. I can't help but admire it. It is something. I loved it at the time, still love it now. So, what can I say?
I'm so happy I
forget. I always forget
again.
Bill likes Sonic too. I always forget.
Yeah,
Well, that's how me and Bill started doing this shit.
Yeah, we
talked
did a
about
Sonic episode for GNC, and then he invited himself as the host, and I said, "Yeah, this show's never coming back. Otherwise, why not?"
Eventually, we'll full circle and talk about some Sonic bullshit on here.
Oh yeah, but does that Sonic Adventure, does it still have the E for everyone with the poof around it, or does it have the solid? Oh yeah, it's the old one before they went to the black went to the black lettering.
See, I have the greatest.
It's a clean ass copy too. Look how nice that is.
Yeah.
I have the Sega Mega Hits version, which is like the black.
The All-Stars
black label. Sega All Stars. It's the one with like the black Dreamcast logo, and then it has like an orange spine, and it's hideous, but I kind of love it.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I forgot they have those greatest hits. Yeah,
yeah.
During the Dreamcast era, they changed to the black. They changed the SUB logo. Yeah, so
and then in the mid 2010s, they slightly adjusted it, but nobody noticed or fucking cared.
Dude,
it was so
I didn't know E10 was a thing until I got to the store and got Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, the first E10 game. This is what 2005. I just picked it up. I was like, E10?
See,
what the hell is this?
Weirdly enough, the first time I ever saw E10 was when I was going through the rental store and they had Shadow the Hedgehog. That was the E10
That's
game.
also one of the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only realized a few years ago that they got rid of early childhood.
Yeah, they've never used it though. So
they did, but it was for like Sesame Street numbers on the fucking DS.
Rayman Brain Games.
Oh, that Sesame Street game on the N64, I think was EC.
Oh, there's two: Letter Journey and Number Adventure.
Yeah, I think those are EC, but yeah.
It was like all
there's some great like when Hard Drive did their ranking of the N64 games. The two they wrote up for those games are like some of the funniest shit I've ever read.
Oh yeah, it's really funny.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we could probably end up rambling forever.
Well, we had to talk about some actual fucking video games.
I know.
Come back to Earth.
So before I sign off, Dre, do you want to shout out Fine Time one more time? Or
yeah, Fine Time is a show. Me, Steve, sorry he couldn't be here today, and Kevin, the three of us. Whatever we are playing, new games, old games, it doesn't matter. Bad games, good games, whatever we are currently playing is what we talk about. We like to do the news like you guys, but we get a little more in depth with it. We'd like to really dig into some sort of meaty topics there. We love to play games. We love to embarrass each other with quizzes and stuff. Like my go-to example is I don't know shit about Pokemon. So with me, Steve plays Pokemon Real or Fake. And I have to guess whether the name he said is a real Pokemon or one he just made up. That's fun. One time I went 1 for 10. That's how bad I am at that game. And it's a 50-50 chance of me getting it right. I went 1 for 10. Anyway, yeah. We love to laugh. We love to talk video games. So come have a fine time with us. How's that?
Nice.
Love it.
And I'll have a link for that in the description of this video.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is really fun. I'm glad there's a weird topic like this.
I mean, we've been talking for like a couple of years now, and we still have yet to actually do a podcast together. So I'm glad we could finally get this one out.
I'm glad we are doing Galgun. We are absolutely doing that one day. I'm committed. That's on my board of Fine Time stuff to do. So
I have all 3 of the games. So whenever, just let me know and I'll get them.
I need to get returns. I guess I'll get it on Steam or something sometime, and then I'll have, because I have the other ones on PS4, PS5, whatever. So yeah,
you two will do Galgun, and then me and Dre will do Custer's Revenge.
Shortest pod. It'll be shorter than one of our current cinematic platformer shows.
Well, we could do Shadow Generations at any point. So
yeah, we do. Yeah, we should do that. We should do that, because I really do want to do that, because I did not like Shadow Generations when it came out.
Oh, you didn't like it?
So this is a revisit for me. I'm giving it another chance.
Okay.
So yeah. Nice. Anyway.
But so once again, guys, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. The 3DO Experience can be found on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com. It is an awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of awesome shows, including everyone here, as well as videos, blogs, and of course, we can go over all the great shows there, like Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, A Novel Console, Bar Silence, Fine Time, The Elder Trolls Gaming Podcast, Remember 64, Gaming Together, Friday Night Gamecast, the 3GNC shows, Gaming and Collecting, the 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, the Retro Wildlands, Press B to Cancel, and the Pre-Order Bonus Podcast. And
Can I just say I love Friday Night Game? They're good. Those are good dudes. Yeah, I don't know if you guys listen to that show. Really, really good stuff. Shout them out.
Yeah, I've talked to Nick before. He's cool.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Literally everybody in our little crew here is like awesome. Like I don't think I've had a bad experience with any of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But
except Aaron.
This is the point where we talk shit about the boss.
Fucking Aaron. I mean, goddamn. I mean, please, that guy.
His alter ego, Filthy Ron.
Now that guy sucks.
But anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?